Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on burnout prevention, brought to you by Prescriptive Health Solutions. Today, we're going to talk about burnout prevention in a practical and honest way. Burnout is not a sign of weakness, and it is not something we fix by simply pushing harder. It happens when stress goes unmanaged for too long. In this presentation, we will look at what burnout really is, how healthy boundaries can protect our energy, why recovery is essential, and when it is time to reach out for support. The goal is to leave with simple, realistic steps that help us stay healthy, effective, and resilient over time. So, what is burnout? Burnout is a recognized workplace issue that's caused by ongoing, unmanaged stress. It's not a personal weakness, and it often leads to exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced performance, which is why prevention requires better boundaries, structure, and support. Burnout is not a character flaw or a lack of commitment. It develops when stress continues too long without being managed successfully. It often shows up as a mix of exhaustion, cynicism, and declining performance. That is why the solution is not more pressure, it's better structure and support. Burnout usually builds over time, so early that warning signs matter. People should not wait until they're completely drained to take stress seriously. The signs are often both emotional and physical. There's trouble sleeping, irritability, poor concentration, exhaustion, and loss of interest. And these are not random problems. They can point to chronic stress overload. Burnout is often driven by ongoing conditions, not just one hard day. A heavy workload, long hours, lack of control, and unrealistic expectations create the pattern. So self-awareness is critical. The reflection questions help people pause and recognize whether their current pace is sustainable. So basic needs are often the first thing that is pushed aside. When sleep, meals, movement, and relationships start slipping, that's a warning sign and not something to ignore. So the key here is to spot the pattern early and address the causes honestly. Take action before chronic stress turns into a full burnout. Burnout prevention starts with strong boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish, they are guardrails that protect your energy, your health, and long-term effectiveness. Healthy boundaries require clear limits. A realistic stop time for work helps prevent work from taking over your whole day. Basic needs must be protected, such as your meals, sleep, and family time. All of these should be treated as essential, not optional. Constant responsiveness creates strain. Thoughtful communication and set times for checking messages helps reduce pressure and improve focus. Saying no is part of prevention. When your schedule is already full, every extra yes costs energy, time, and well-being. So honesty matters. The goal is not to cram in more. The goal is to do what you can to do well and sustain it. So your key takeaway here, boundaries help you stay effective without running yourself into exhaustion. Recovery is part of the work, but recovery is also not optional. It's part of the work of staying healthy, staying focused, and staying effective. Rest should not be treated like a reward after everything is done, because the work is rarely ever completely finished. Recovery supports your performance. You cannot stay effective by pushing nonstop. You stay effective by building in regular restoration. Recovery has dimensions. Physical recovery includes sleep, healthy food, movement such as exercise, and calming the body. Mental recovery comes from pauses, less stimulation, and better limits on tasks. Emotional recovery grows through supportive relationships, reflection, and connection to faith or even community. Real recovery is intentional. It's not just stopping an activity, it's choosing what actually helps your body, mind, and emotions reset. Recovery, in summary, is not wasting your time. It is what helps prevent burnout and sustain long-term strength. Getting the right support is key. Burnout gets worse in isolation, and support is one of the strongest ways to break that pattern. The right support can come from the workplace, from personal relationships, your community, or professional care. Support, though, should be sought early. It is better to address stress before it turns into a full burnout or a deeper health crisis. Workplace support matters. Having honest conversations with a supervisor, clearing priorities, or setting realistic goals, and also getting available employee assistance resources can reduce the pressure and create better structure for you. Personal connection is protective. Trusted family and friends, faith-based support, and community relationships help you stay grounded and less isolated. Professional help is sometimes necessary. I mean, let's all be real about that. When symptoms get severe, if they're ongoing, or if they are interfering with your daily life, reach out to your primary care provider or mental health professional. This is a wise step. Know that burnout is harder to overcome alone. Support is not a weakness. It's a practical and necessary part of prevention and recovery. A simple burnout prevention plan can help you be successful. It's practical, and it's a plan for preventing burnout before it becomes severe. So the focus here is on taking small intentional steps early, because early action is more effective than waiting until you are overwhelmed. So focus on the first thing, name the pressure. So identify the top stressors draining your energy so that you can address the real sources of pressure. Reset one boundary. Just set one. You don't need to fix everything all at once. One enforceable limit can create meaningful relief. Then schedule recovery on purpose. Sleep, movement, quiet time, reflection, all needs to be planned to ensure that nothing is left to chance. And then ask for help. Tell someone what needs to change. Asking for help from one trusted person can create support, accountability, and momentum. Know that burnout prevention does not require a dramatic overhaul here. It's a small, honest action that, taken early, can help make a huge difference. So let's take our discussion into action. Think personally and practically about your boundaries, recovery, and support. Know that reflection leads to action. So the goal is not just to understand burnout prevention, but to apply it in real life. So as you reflect on these questions, which boundary would most improve your daily stress level right now? Know that your boundaries are personal and everyone's boundary is going to be different. What kind of recovery helps you feel mentally and physically restored? Discovery and recovery looks different for everyone. So think about what truly helps you feel mentally and physically restored. Who can you talk to before stress becomes isolation or shutdown? Know that this support matters before crisis hits. What is one change you will make this week to reduce burnout risk? Know that one small step is enough to start. Lasting change often begins with that one realistic action taken this week. Burnout prevention becomes real when we identify what we need, who we can support, and what we are willing to change now. Burnout prevention starts with honest awareness and practical action. When we protect healthy boundaries and make room for real recovery and reach for the right support, we put ourselves in a position to serve, lead, and live well for long term. Taking care of yourself is not stepping back from your responsibilities. It is what allows you to meet them with strength, with clarity, and consistency. The goal is not to do everything. The goal is to do what matters most without losing yourself in the process. Thank you so much for joining Prescriptive Health Solutions today for this important webinar. For more information, feel free to go to our website at prescriptivehealthsolutions.com.